Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the May 20th meeting of the Hyde Park Planning Board. Please take note of exits around the room and now join me as we salute the American flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I have a quick housekeeping matter first. I want to state into the record that it is with profound regret that we accept the resignation, or rather the town board accepted the resignation of member, our colleague Ed Signa. Again, for the record, Mr. Signa was as thorough and dedicated and passionate about his duties on the planning board as any other person on the board I've had the pleasure to work with. He will be missed, and in his case, he has resigned because of family reasons, truly family, and our hearts and minds are out there with you, Ed and Kathy. Good luck. That noted, first item on the agenda is a new public hearing for Wadja. Mr. Wadja is seeking site plan amendment approval to turn a rear portion of a building at 4158 Albany Post Road into a residence. Making a motion to open public hearing.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
As I said, this is a relatively minor site plan amendment in a rear portion of a building that houses Harvest Moon gifts for people who might be listening. Is being turned into a residence. Mixed use is not only allowed but encouraged in this district. I don't think there's anything else we have to add from you, right, Mr. Wadja? No? Good. Is there any member of the public who would like to speak about this application? There being none, any comment from the board?
No.
There being none, may I get a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And who has this resolution?
I have this. Resolution adopting a secret determination of non-significance and also granting site plan amendment approval, Wadja dwelling unit, May 20th, 2015, resolution 15-16. Whereas the applicant, Michael Wadja, has submitted an application for site plan amendment approval to establish a one-bedroom dwelling unit in an existing commercial structure located at 4158 Albany Post Road, identified as a, well, we won't go through that one. Whereas, one last, oh, okay, well, I'm not going to skip this one. Whereas on May 6, 2015, the planning board classified the action as an unlisted action and determined to conduct an uncoordinated review, and whereas the planning board has considered the criteria contained in 6 NYCRR 617.7, reviewed Part 2 of the EAF and thoroughly analyzed all identified relevant areas of environmental concern. And whereas the project was referred to Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to 239M of General Municipal Law, which responded May 19, 2015, it was a matter of local concern, and recommended that additional street trees and landscaping be added to the site. Whereas a duly noted public hearing was held on May 20th, 2015, during which all those who wished to speak were heard. Now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby determines the project as proposed will not result in any significant adverse environmental impacts, and that a draft EA environmental impact statement will not be prepared. Further be resolved, the planning board makes the following findings with respect to the requested modifications to the site development standards to eliminate the requirement for a sidewalk. The applicant is proposing to modify the interior of the structure and only make minimal changes to the exterior of the structure, such as the addition of a rear window. There is no potential adverse impacts to the surrounding properties from the elimination of the sidewalk. The town of Hyde Park has received a grant to install a sidewalk along the frontage of the property and other adjacent properties within the next 2 years. The sidewalk installed by the town will have a uniform width and look. Be it therefore resolved, the planning board hereby grants site plan amendment approval to permit the establishment of a one-bedroom dwelling unit in an existing commercial structure as shown on the floor plan, and authorizes the chair to sign the floor plan and attach it to the site plan after compliance with the following conditions. 1, payment of all fees and escrow. Do I have a second?
Second.
Just for the record, while we detail in the resolution why we're not requiring a sidewalk here, that's because the town received a TAP grant of close to $700,000, which will include streetscape improvements. Let it also be noted that since Dutchess County Planning also requested trees and landscaping, I didn't feel it necessary to put into the resolution, but the TAP grant also includes pedestrian lighting, new landscaping around the sides, a green buffer to make it safer for people walking on the sidewalk to feel better. So we didn't think as a board that it was necessary to have the applicant, Mr. Wadja, go to the expense of installing a sidewalk and trees when there's still no final design worked out. There's just a rudimentary work worked out with DOT. So they're going to start going through the bidding process, and that will include design as well. So we didn't want to have the town also have to go to the expense of removing something that was just installed. So any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any nays or abstentions? No, there being none. Thank you, Mr. Wadja. Good luck. It usually takes about, if you're waiting for a building permit, it takes about 3 days for this to process between upstairs and downstairs. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is St. James Antiochian Orthodox Church, located at 433-451 Violet Avenue. The applicant is seeking an amendment of site plan to basically increase the height of 2 towers. Mr. Turner, you're here representing the owner?
Correct.
Do you want to show anything?
Sure, I can run through this, so that way, you know, it's kind of reflects what you have on the drawings that were part of the package. I'll try to do a before and after thing.
What we have here, this is the existing church as it is currently designed, with the 2 towers that flank the entrance, all done in cultured stone with the prefabricated domes on the top. What Mr. Neshiwat would like to do, because he has done a lot of traveling over in the Middle East lately, and he's been looking at a lot of the old churches, he realized that what he did here really did not reflect the character of those churches, and he really wants to bring that into his church. When you get inside of this church, the interior is very elaborate, very ornate, and that's what these churches are on the inside. On the outside, there's more simplistic in nature, but they really focus on the 3 elements, which would be 3 towers and the main tower in the middle. These towers just weren't tall enough. It did not really match what he was seeing, and so that's what he wanted to try to do. So what we're looking at doing here is, first thing that we would be doing is we're going to be taking down, well, let me just move this over where I can reach. We're going to be lowering the extensions of this cultured stone down. There's one reason for doing that. They are currently having some water problems on the interior of the church, and it's coming from the flashing that exists around that stone. So they would like to take that down. They're going to do the repairs that they need to, and rather than go back in with stone, what we decided to do was to extend up with the troweled-on stucco finish, extending the towers up so that way they didn't feel so heavy in regards to having so much stone. And then this is currently the elevation of the towers right now where the domes are. We'll be taking the domes off and then creating this open belfry type of structure on the top that will be open, and it is about 15 feet high, and that will create the belfry type of appearance that these other churches were reflecting that he saw. We would then be reinstalling the existing domes on top. There is going to be no bells in these. If anything, he said there might be a speaker which gets used on certain special occasions where they would have some type of ringing bell noise coming from them, but it's not used very often. It's only on special occasions throughout the year. I don't have an exact number on that, but it probably is less than what I can count on my hand. Again, we'd be extending the ephes material up onto these column areas, and that would provide a more unified effect with the overall building. And that's pretty much it.
Thank you. As you note, normally the open belfries would be used for bells and ringing to indicate church services or high holy days. We confirmed in the initial pre-application meeting that there would be no bells. Mr. Neshwat did say there might be a speaker. But in essence, really, this is a pretty simple application. It's just changing the height of the two spires.
Correct.
And if I recall, this is an old Christian faith, and the concept back then, like Greek Orthodox, was the emphasis on the Holy Trinity. So that all three, there should be one spire for God the Father, and the other two, the Holy Spirit or Holy Ghost.
Correct.
And the Son would be paired at another level. So I can see why he wants it done, because I know that the highest prelate of this faith also occasionally comes here, and I think might have remonstrated with Mr. Neshwat. So
I'm sure he has.
let me turn it over to the board for any questions. Mr. Murphy, any questions, issues?
No, I just wish the church was physically further from the road, and, I'd be much more comfortable. Is what it is.
Ironically, of course, our code calls for buildings to be moved to the front of the property line, but it does seem strange to see a church that close and not have a setback. So, Mr. Groninger?
No comment on that.
Ms. Dexter?
I think it'll look fine.
Mr. Oliver?
No comment.
Mr. Marciliano?
Yeah, no comment. I assume that there's no height restriction or anything like that, and if there were, that middle dome is higher than the two new ones.
Correct.
No comment, really.
The way height is calculated under our code, you can see where the central window is. You calculate the mean between the lowest line of the roof and the peak, and then that you measure to the top of whatever structure. In this case, the crosses would not be considered part of the height, only the top of the actual belfry or the dome would be part of it.
Michael, I do want to raise one question. Where the sign is on the left side, does that pose any impediment for the fire department, since we will be adding electrical service, if you will, for speaker and whatnot, in the towers at a relatively high height? Unfortunately, there is no fire department person here tonight to give us just a quick input.
No, but we could circulate it to the fire department as a courtesy.
I think that's something we should do, just because of the uniqueness. You'll have electrical stuff pretty high in the air, and you want to make sure you can get a ladder truck or some access to that.
Correct. I mean, there currently is an access way up into the attic space, which is how we did a lot of research already on the existing conditions within the building. So we would make sure that that would remain open. And then, as you were stating, I would make sure then that we'd have some ability to get up into those areas, for doing the firefighting. Correct.
It's just my suggestion here.
I think that's a good suggestion.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, we're prepared to type this action, refer it to county planning. We should also change the resolution to add to refer to Roosevelt.
Fairview. No, wait. Yeah, Fairview.
It's Fairview.
It was Fairview, I remember. We went through quite a deal.
Thank you.
It
I
is
did
fair.
not
We went
remember.
quite a deal with them.
It's been such a while, so we can refer it to Fairview. Again, it'll be as a courtesy only, and if they have any issues, I'll contact Chief Mater, see if they can send something back to us quickly. So who has this resolution?
I do. Are we going to add a third, number
Yeah, just-
3 here, referred to Fairview?
To Fairview Fire District for comment, courtesy comment. Good catch. And would you like to set the public hearing? Do you want to try our luck with Mr. Clark and ask for
Okay.
expedited review again? Go ahead, Frank.
Resolution classifying the action and referring application to the County Department of Planning and Development, St. James Antiochian Orthodox Church, resolution number 15-20, whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board hereby, 1, classifies the project as a type 2 action under SECRA, and 2, directs its secretary to refer the application to the Dutchess County Department of Planning and Development pursuant to section 239-M of the General Municipal Law. 3, refers the application to the Fairview Fire Department for courtesy comments. Second?
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. And can you get us one more set of plans? I think because of
Two,
Ed,
right?
One back there and I have Ed's.
so we're fine. I just realized because of Ed not being here, we already have two, so we'll refer Ed's over, one to county and one over to Fairview. Great.
Okay.
And when do you guys want to set the public hearing for? Do you want to wait? I can ask Mr. Clark one more time. We've been doing that a lot lately, so I know he gets a little, yeah, not happy. Can they wait a month, or do you want to try this for 2 weeks?
Well, we can try for the 2 weeks at the moment, and,
Try for it.
you know,
Making a motion to set the public hearing
Right,
for
before you do
June.
that, Michael?
Yes.
Unfortunately, I'm just checking, and I am going to be in California at my granddaughter's graduation on June 3rd. I will miss the next meeting.
We'll still have
You
5.
should have quorum,
Yeah,
but just be aware of it.
thank you. So making a motion to set the public hearing for June 3rd.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We'll see you in 2
Okay.
weeks. Let's beg one more time for expedited review. These are small changes. Yeah, yeah. And this wasn't approved that long ago. It's still looking spruce with all the landscaping, et cetera.
Yes.
So thank you, Mr. Chairman. It's good to see you as always.
No problem, thank you very much.
The next item on the agenda is Dutchess County SPCA. The applicants are seeking approval for a freestanding sign. This is the building located at 636 Valid Avenue, the brand-new one, and Ms. Dexter and I are both recused. So, Mr. Groninger, can you take over for a moment?
I sure can.
Where's the gavel?
Where's the gavel? Oh, wait a minute, we do have quorum, all right.
Yeah, see, well, first thing as chairman, you gotta find out who's following, right?
Yeah.
They leave the
All right, let's see. I assume there's nobody who wants to even comment on this? Anybody on the board have any comments?
No.
No comment. No comment.
No?
Nope.
All right, who has this? I do. For review?
Resolution recommending granting of a sign permit, Dutchess County SPCA freestanding sign, resolution number 15-24, whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the planning board recommends approval of the sign permit for the Dutchess County SPCA freestanding two-post sign of 16.9 square feet to be unlit, lights shielded from the driver's view, and that the zoning administrator issue the sign permit within 10 days of this recommendation as specified in the code.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Nope. Passed 4-2. That's it. Michael, you may return.
That's the derelict.
Oh, they were listening.
Right. Did we do that in, what, 90 seconds flat?
Good job, good job.
Thank you very much. The next item on the agenda is Mund, that would be, oh, this, okay. The next item on the agenda would be Mund. The applicants are seeking approval or site plan waiver to be able to install solar panels on the roof of their home. The house is located at 2 Maple Lane. We have a recommendation from the zoning administrator. Who has this file?
I do.
Michael,
Town of
may I
Hyde
make
Park,
a comment before we do that?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. There is a upcoming IBC, or International Building Code change that will be coming into New York in 2017, which requests that all,
That's not
I realize it's not here now. I wish the client was here. It would be nice to make the recommendation. What they're asking is that the center line there be a split that is safe for firemen to walk up. As it stands today, okay, a fireman cannot vent the roof on a house. And you're
But
basically.
I will point out that there's the backside of the roof that usually gets vented.
Well, depends. I mean, the code is going to require that.
No, I know,
Um,
but it's not in
And I
place
don't
yet.
know if he has panels on the backside. Do we know
No,
this
no,
on
no.
one side?
No.
Okay.
They won't.
not.
All right.
It's south side only.
Well, usually, fine. I also, if you notice on 9G, we have one that's on both sides.
Yes.
It was just put up.
And I'm going to comment that if I were the neighbor, this would upset my feng shui, so to speak. I don't understand why the lines aren't, why it's not pushed over so they're all alike. No
Well,
comment?
the lower ones are slightly narrower
Right.
than the upper ones. And as I say, if he wants to be future code compliant and get the best safety out of his house, he really should have a smaller one here and then with the 4-foot walkway over the roof rib that's the center one, the roof joist.
Maybe that'd make it more symmetrical, but at any rate,
It would absolutely make it a balanced thing, but,
I also-
I mean, I realize we can't force that in
No.
any way, shape, or form, but this would be my recommendation were the client here.
True. And I would say from
And
the...
this will be
from the-
true for everybody that comes before the board now for photovoltaic. I have completed a 3-hour course not too long ago on all this.
thank you, Robert.
Yep, and I would just point out that I'm not sure that that's an accurate, actual, I don't think that's a drawing of exactly how it's going to look. That's just, that's just,
close
that's a
enough.
conceptual, the actual building plans for it are going, may look
Okay.
different. That's just, here's what a bunch of solar panels look like on a roof,
Okay, and by the way, this is the south-facing
south-facing
side,
roof, yeah.
because the north has trees in front of it. They're not
Correct.
my neighbors, but they live close enough where I go by that I see the house all the time. It's
Yep.
got the little gnome,
But you're right,
killer gnome tree.
this new law in 2017 will change a lot of things, and I'm sure a lot of people may be rushing to get things installed before then.
Well, and it just kind of makes some sense if you want to have your house, you hope you're never going to have a fire in there, but the current recommendation for fire companies, if it's photovoltaic, and this is the way it is, you do not walk on them and you do not put
No.
a fire
Oh,
axe
no.
in there.
Oh, no, they're live,
never-
yeah.
Don't
Okay.
walk on them. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I don't think I read it.
Oh,
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't read the resolution.
Yeah,
did you?
Okay.
All right.
We already had the discussion. Town of Hyde Park Planning Board, site plan waiver for Donald Mund, resolution number 15-23. Whereas an application requesting a waiver of site plan has been made to the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board by Donald Mund on May 7, 2015, for property located at 2 Maple Lane in the Town of Hyde Park. And whereas, now therefore be it resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives site plan requirements for the file entitled Mund regarding the specific request as received May 7, 2015, and in the building permit application file for this project. Do I have a second?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
The motion carries. The penultimate item on the agenda is the release of escrow. This will be Resolution 15-C. I'm going to make the motion. The project names that we're releasing escrow for are Center for Physical Therapy, Capola's Bistro, Gasland Petroleum, Gilbert Farm Recreation Facility, Hyde Park Mall Phase 2, that would be the Green Tree addition, Quick Lot Line Revision, Quick Check, which was never actually a full application, Quick Check, which is also never really a full application. They established escrow just to explore options to see where they could go. TEG Federal Credit Union and Whitman, this would be the house in Statsburg. Everyone had a chance to review this?
Yes.
May I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries, and now I have to recuse myself and wish everyone good night.
You're not doing much tonight.
Thank you. Can you hand me the bond with the other ones? Right, I'll get it to you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. You want to do this one?
Oh, I did the last one.
The next item on the agenda is a site plan waiver recommendation by the zoning administrator for Dupree Fleischer. Our chairman has recused himself since this is his residence. I believe the modifications are up in the pool house, and they're just reconfiguring some of the space and adding some shade-giving structure to the patio, none of which can be seen from the river because it's hidden by trees. Who has this?
That'd be me.
That'd be you.
Resolution number 15-22. Whereas an application requesting a waiver of site plan has been made to the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board by Michael Fleischer and Michael Dupree on May 7, 2015 for the property they own located at 30 Curry Lane, Town of Hyde Park. And whereas, now therefore be resolved that the Town of Hyde Park Planning Board hereby waives site plan requirements for the file entitled Fleischer Dupree alterations regarding the specific request as submitted on May 7, 2015.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Any recused, any negative? Motion passes. Congratulations to the Fleischer Dupree household,
You probably should tell him.
right?
Michael?
So is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, everybody.
Who said?
Thank you, Media Committee.
Did Michael go home?
Yes.